Hello, everyone. I discovered Bayard Rustin when I was a 19-year-old college student at Temple University. Go Temple, go Owls. I joined the African American Student Union to do a deeper dive into my history. And while I learned a bit about who Bayard Rustin was and how he impacted the civil rights movement, it became quite evident to me that he was marginalized in the history books because he wasn't the recognizable face of the movement. And because he was an openly and unapologetically gay man in 1963. President Obama, who awarded Bayard Rustin the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously for his life of service in 2013, has said that there would be no Barack Obama if there was no Bayard Rustin. If it were not for the thoughtful leadership and genius of my friend and collaborator, the film Rustin would not exist. Our film is a clarion call to inspire all of us to make the world a little more hopeful in these troubled times. Bayard Rustin is no longer in the shadows of history, but rightly in the center stage in the legacy for the fight for civil and human rights. And for that, we can thank my genius director, the thoughtful, interrogating, boundlessly creative mind, the legendary George C. Wolfe. I'd like to welcome a friend who is equally as thoughtful and boundlessly creative to share a few words on this momentous occasion. Now, she is no stranger to the podium, the magnificent White House Press Secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre.
Good evening. For many decades, Bayard Rustin was in the margins of American history. His contribution to the civil rights movement was not widely known and very rarely acknowledged. Former President Obama recognized and honored Bayard's legacy with the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2013. And this year, on the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington, President Biden spoke to the impact and meaning of the march. He said it was, and I quote, "a promise derived from the very idea that we are all created equal and deserve to be treated equally throughout our entire lives. While we'll never fully lived up to that promise, we've never, thank God, fully walked away from it," end quote. Rustin challenges us to continue to strive for equality, to focus on educating and inspiring the youth, and to ask ourselves what more we can do. Bayard was the architect behind the march and ultimately behind great change. His story reminds all of us how much we can accomplish and how we can affect change when you speak truth to power. Bayard Rustin's impact was monumental, and we cannot downplay the importance of finally telling Rustin's remarkable story. And we are greatly, greatly in George C. Wolfe's debt for bringing us this wonderful, wonderful film. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the visionary and architect behind Rustin, George C. Wolfe, and the talented, extraordinarily talented cast, Glynn Turman, Michael Potts, Ameen, Gus Halper, Grantham Coleman, Jeffrey Wright, Divine Joy Randolph, and of course my friend, and by the way, his birthday is tomorrow, Coleman, Domingo.
Thank you. As the story goes, ooh, this is very live. As the story goes, when Bayard was a teenager in Westchester, Pennsylvania, he played every sport. He was valedictorian. He was an offensive lineman. I don't necessarily know what that means, but he was an offensive lineman. And when he would come into contact with his opponent, he would tackle them, and then after he had tackled them, he'd help them stand, and then he'd recite a line of poetry. He went to prison because he was a conscious objector during World War II. He protested against the internment of the Japanese because he understood in the core of his being that it needn't look like you to be about you. Democracy is a muscle, and if you don't use it, it atrophies and it is not functional. He understood that, and we need to understand that we must invest every single day in the muscularity of democracy. Otherwise, mediocrity and evil will rise. And isn't it kind of funny that mediocrity and evil sort of go hand in hand? Fascinating. And what Bayard also believes in, which is what this room is about in its own way, and what I am so blessed on this journey, is the potency and the power of the collective. Everyday, phenomenal people behind the camera, Bruce Cohen, Tonya Davis, Ivana Lombardi. Applaud them, somebody who knows who they are. All these amazing people came together, and this group of us, oh my God, there she is, she's beautiful. And every day, all these people gave the best and the purest of their heart and their talent to tell this remarkable story. We all dream of creating a work that will change the world. The next best thing is to tell the story of someone who actually did. Thank you. Enough with applause, enough with applause. I'm building to an end. That was applause. I didn't time it right. It didn't work out quite the way I wanted it to. I had a rhythm going. You messed it up with the applause, but thank you anyway. See, I'm directing strangers sitting at a table eating food. Thank you to everybody who was involved. Thank you, remarkable human beings who are standing on the stage. And celebrate in the power of reaching and connecting to people, because again, as Bayard understood, the best of what we are is to be found also in each other. Thank you in honoring this film, and in honoring me, and in honoring us. You are honoring a remarkable, astonishing person who happens to be on Netflix as of now. So go see the damn film.